I know what you're thinking. What in the gosh darn is Bits and Bombs? Bits and Bombs is a podcast deep diving into what it takes to do stand-up from a different comedian every episode. Follow new open micer Peter Doms in his journey to be an okay comic.
Indy C.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm amazing. I'm in Brisbane.
Hell yeah. You're here for a gig, right?
Yeah, down at Kingston Butter Factory. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, awesome.
So,
when was your very first gig in stand-up?
what are we up to? March 2025? I want to say 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Yeah, February 2022.
February 2022.
Yeah.
That's when you first... What was your first gig?
It was an open mic. I actually went to Luke Heggie's gig and met him after the show, and then he was like, "I'll give me 5 minutes on stage tonight." The following day,
Yeah.
with an hour and a half's notice. So I wrote some stuff on my hand, got up and delivered it, and the next thing I was opening for Al Delbenny and Mel Buttle. So
Oh, wow.
it happened really fast, very fast.
Yeah. So you quickly wrote some material, and the first gig, like, how did that go? Like...
It went really well. That sounds terrible. Like, I want to say I bombed.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be humble. I want to be like,
No,
it wasn't
don't
great.
be.
And then someone encouraged, no, that's not what happened. It went really well. Like, it was like I felt really comfortable doing it. Don't get me wrong, scared out of my brains.
Yeah.
Right up until the second I stepped on stage. But
Did you have much, like, public speaking experience before that?
no, I'm not a shy person. That helps.
Yeah, okay.
So, but definitely not public speaking, no.
Yeah. And
No cause to.
And with your material, was that kind of stuff that you already had thought that was fun, like thought about? Like, was it stories that you'd tell people? Like,
I never actually thought, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian one day. I should put some jokes together. I've always been funny at barbecues.
Yeah.
And I always thought that if you can be funny for 4 people, then that's pretty much your limit. Like, it's not the same as being funny to 100 people.
Yeah.
Turns out it's the other way around because laughter is infectious. So it's harder to make 4 people laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
So,
actually, yeah.
Yeah, so I had that in the bag. Again, sounding pompous as fuck, but not meaning to. But yeah, no public speaking, but definitely have always been funny. But my material isn't something I've written over years. Even now when I write material, it's something that happens right in front of my face, or I just have a memory of something and it goes from there. And obviously you add bits to it, but mostly just life experience.
Yeah, wow. And so you kind of aim to always, like, be writing new material with, like, keeping up with what's been going on and things like that as well?
It's actually really difficult in Townsville. Well, Townsville's, far North Queensland. It's so far removed from any of the capitals that, we are so far behind. And the interest in world events is a little bit strained.
Yeah.
So that's not helpful either. And also, too, because we don't have as many comedy gigs as you do in the big smoke. So, I mean, you were saying before you do about 3 gigs a week.
Yeah.
We probably have about 4 gigs a month in total.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, because I guess I'm one of the senior comics up there, sometimes it's your job to rescue the room, or... and then you find yourself defaulting to the material at work. So it's really hard to test new material, even if it comes to mind. And, so it's difficult. It's difficult to write new material. It's difficult to find the time or the opportunity to write new material.
Yeah.
Or to get it out there.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of... And also as well, would you find with... Like, I found, like, when I started in Mackay, so we didn't have a scene at all. Like, when
I remember that.
Yeah, and I first met you in Townsville, like, going to their Raw Heat.
Which you won, by the way. Can we just remember that for a second?
Yeah, yeah, so it was kind of funny to, like, go... Like, I remember going to Townsville, I was like, they have a scene, it's awesome. Like, it was, like, really exciting, where, like, I think we had maybe, like, 2 or 3 gigs at all before that. Like, we never had an open mic until, like, Reed started it. But I found with the Mackay crowds, even, like, we only had 3 or 4 gigs, it was a lot of the same people. Do you find that Townsville has a lot of the same, like, return punters, or...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, we've got 12 strong in our little community, I suppose. And then people come in and leave, here and there. They try it for a few times and it doesn't work, or it's not for them, or, they check off the bucket list and away they go. But as far as the audience goes, to be honest, that's the strongest part of our community.
Yeah.
I've got a show. I just started a second one, but I've got a show in Townsville. It runs once a month on Tuesdays. It sells out within 2 days.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
and there has been times when I've forgotten to actually put the marketing out 7 days notice, and it still sells out in 2 days. So the community really get behind it, but that took some work as well. So when I got to the scene, no one knew that local comedy was a thing, but business development is my thing. So I just took it right out there and just went, right, we're going to change this. We need bums in seats, or we're just talking to each other, which is insane. That's not comedy. That's having a chat with a lot of people trying to be funny all at once. It's not great.
Did you find, for me, I found like coming to like Mackay, it was the same thing where the crowds were strong. Like when my first open mic was like 60 people. Yeah. Which is like in Brisbane's like unheard. Like that's a club kind of spot. Yeah. So coming to Brisbane, I was like, oh, I'm performing to 4 people. Like I was like, so there's heaps more gigs, but like, you know, it varies. And
can we talk about Mackay? Can we talk about Mackay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I actually got a message from someone in Mackay. I can't even remember who it was. It was so long ago. Yeah. And they were like, hey, can you help us out and come down and do some comedy here? And they just asked me to take the headline spot. I was like, yeah, sure. I've never done comedy in Mackay. She did say, she was very clear that there hadn't been comedy in Mackay for a very long time. Yeah. I don't know what I was expecting. When I got down there, look, it was a great show, and the punters were there. They showed up in force. You know, it was a strip club, which was great.
Yeah, classic. That's what.
But the community was so new that they didn't even know to remove the stripper pole. And if they didn't remove the stripper pole, at least mention that it's there so the audience can relax and, you know, kind of understand that there's a stripper pole here. Acknowledge the elephant in the room. So none of this was done. And then the MC did try to announce some people from behind the curtain a couple of times, and I was like, oh, like you guys are really new, like new. Like there's no. Yeah. There's just no experience here whatsoever. And I did say that to Mackay. I was like, look, you guys probably need to get like a coach or a professional in here.
That's the hard thing is the next town that does stand-up is Townsville. It's 4 hours away.
Yeah, or Brisbane, even longer.
Yeah, it's a massive trek for anyone to kind of come in. So it was really hard.
Oh, no, I do Cairns. Before Cairns, I used to do Cairns twice a month.
Oh, yeah, and that's about...
It's 4 hours.
About the same,
But Mackay is a hard place to get to because it's a shit of a drive.
Yep.
There's nothing good on that drive. No, there's nothing good on that drive.
Yeah, and I found that too, like... Oh, it's funny, I actually have a story about the stripper pole. So I did...
So we're talking about the same club then?
Yeah, the same club, awesome. Yeah, because that's where that was my first gig, 60 people. That place, like, packs out pretty well. Like, awkward seating arrangement, but... yeah, so the first gig I did, the pole was up. I went to an engagement party at that club where the stripper pole was up.
Yeah, right.
And then someone from the party, a big hefty dude, swung on it, broke it, and my first thought was, fucking have a stage now.
Yes.
So
is that how it came down?
That's how it came down. They literally had to be broken.
I remember saying to the MC that gig, it was the first one in years apparently. Yeah. And I said to the MC when he came backstage, I was like, next time you go out there, just mention the stripper pole. Yeah. If you don't feel comfortable, don't make a joke about it, but mention it because everyone's wondering why it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't happen. I got out there at the end and then mentioned the pole, and it was almost like relief from the audience. Like, oh, okay, so there's a stripper pole. They know there's a stripper pole. They almost thought we were like oblivious to this stripper pole. Yeah. In the middle of the stage, literally dead center.
It's funny because I thought when I first did stand-up, I was like, I'm not going to mention the stripper pole because everyone else is going to mention it. I think a few other people did mention it that night, but it's odd that it's like the thing that the first person should mention.
Someone say something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't think Mackay's really doing anything anymore. The issue was like...
You've got some funny people down there, though.
Yeah.
You really do.
And it was like just trying to get people, like new people keen. Like no one wants to get up and do it. Yeah. As well. Like once you get like a bit of a rotation of people where you can kind of variate lineups where it's kind of... There's only like 8 or so people that want to do it. And that's a...
8's a lineup.
It's a lineup, but it's the same lineup every time.
Yeah, and if you're not bringing new material and then you've got your 50% return punters, makes it difficult.
Yeah. I feel like I was more inclined. I was writing more new material like at a faster pace when I was living in Mackay. Because it was that like, I need to bring new material so my friends can see new stuff. Not everyone's seeing the same jokes. But now,
do you like your friends in the audience though? Because I hate it.
I don't mind it. I actually like it, but...
You're one of those awesome comedians that just is like, I've got a job to do. I'm doing that. I don't hate my friends in the audience. I feel like they don't laugh. I feel like they're the ones who aren't.
Yeah, I've definitely...
They're not responsive, and it's like, no, I want responsive people. And also, because I've been around my friends for so long, sometimes I feel like they anticipate me as well. And I'm like, that's going to be less funny for you.
There was a woman from work that went to a gig, and then one of the other women from work was like, oh, she said you're funny at work. I'm like, you don't have to tell me that she said that. I don't need to know that. That can stay between you guys.
Yeah, how long do you want to keep our work relationship going?
Yeah,
mate?
like fucking... especially it was like the second gig I ever did. Like I was so new to stand up. But yeah, I don't mind friends coming along, but I have like all the time people are like, oh, when's your next gig? And it's like that thing of like, I do so many... It's all good. Do you need to go to... Yeah, kids live here, by the way.
Doesn't bother me. They're not my kids.
Not
Best
mine
part
either.
about them.
But yeah, so basically, like in terms of like, because I do so many gigs, like I do a few gigs a week. Most of them, I don't know if it's going to be good or not.
Yeah,
like you never can tell. Like, so even the gigs that can be like really good, it's like the next week it might get cancelled because no one showed up.
Yeah.
Like sometimes that happens as well. So I'm like, I'd rather have my friend, if I'm going to invite people, I need to know it's like going to be like, if it's a raw gig or something like that, like I know it's going to be like a hot room. It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Like I do have a little bit of a thing where I'm like, I want my friends to see me do well.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't make me nervous that they're in the crowd, but if it's like 10 people, that's where I'm going to be like,
and if they've never seen you before as well.
Yeah, that's where it does get to me. I'm like, oh, they're on their phone or they're recording me right now.
I had friends when they started finding out, like they started coming, and then they're like, oh, you got to come and see. So then, it was just more and more friends, which actually put me under the pump to write more material.
Yeah.
And then I fell into that trap of writing new material almost every week and not really honing in on the jokes that I, that were working really well. And it wasn't until a pro literally said, hey, Indy, you can do the same material twice.
Yeah.
So, and I was literally like, no, I did that joke last week. I can't do it this week. Or at all. And it just felt like that because no one told me. No one told me not to.
Yeah.
So, and then I was like, oh, shit. And then the concept of doing the same material more than once didn't actually happen until Raw.
Yeah.
When I entered Raw and they were like, oh, no, you have to do the same material. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Who does the same material? Like, I didn't actually understand that as a concept that... I'm not saying that everything I wrote was funny either. There were definitely some curves in there. But, yeah, finding out for the first time, I was like, oh, so you actually do... It's a good idea to repeat material and test it 3, 4, 5 times. And then I found that by doing that, your jokes develop and they grow and you cut things. You've got to ruthlessly disqualify just as well as you qualify. So you've got to get rid of things as fast as you hang on to things. So
yeah, that was another thing I didn't like. I was in the same boat as you. I didn't quite understand the repeating. So when I was 6 gigs in, I have 2 5-minute sets or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was one was intertwined with all these callbacks, and it was none of it standard on its own.
Yeah,
It was too tied into each other.
Yeah.
And winning the Townsville heat, they flew me to Brisbane for the state final, and Fideli puts me up on the Saturday night. My first gig in Brisbane was a Saturday night at Sit Down.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do a different lot of material.
Did they not tell you to do the same?
No, they didn't.
They normally do. They normally tell you, usually, just do your raw set.
Yeah, usually they do. But he didn't really say that for the Saturday gig, so I did just... I didn't do great. I didn't do great at all. And now looking back, I'm like, yeah, of course you weren't going to do great. But in my head, I was like, I'm going to show them I can do a decent amount of jokes or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was like, fuck, I should have done my raw set. Because who was it? I think Ali from Cairns. She was the...
Yeah,
she was
Ali
the winner.
Greaves.
Yeah, she was the winner that year, and she killed it with her raw set. Straight after me, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I should have just done my raw set.
Should have just done that. Oh, it's insane. I don't... I do want to write more and more material, for sure. But, I've got these jokes that until they're... I know that they're golden. I know that they can be better. So I just keep putting them out. But then you don't know... when I write new material, it's hard because I'm like, oh, I want people to find that funny and I want people to trust me. So then I try and interweave it with... old jokes or jokes that I know work.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to know if they like you or if the joke actually works. So it's I don't know. It's tough. Comedy's hard for more reasons than just standing up in front of an audience and telling some jokes and trying to make them laugh.
Yeah.
It's hard. Writing's hard. Deciding what works, and particularly with the kind of material I write, I'm pretty raw.
Yeah.
Like trying to decide where the line is for me is sometimes like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I actually recently sent a joke in which I dropped the N-word. And it's not in a bad way in any way. But I actually sent it to a couple of pros and was like, hey, can I use this universally, or is this just a Townsville specific thing, North Queensland thing? And they were like, no, you can use this anywhere.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, great. But just that fear of like, where is the line? I don't know where it is because I'm insular. I'm in Townsville. I mean, I go to Cairns, I come to Brisbane sometimes, but for the most part, I'm sitting up there in the north doing whatever I want. So I'm keen to test it out further and further south.
Yeah.
Where apparently the PC lines come closer and closer to my material. So
it's interesting, like the doing regional tours does, not that I'm like a super like edgy kind of person anyway, but it does seem like the Wild West, like seeing like what the crowds just seem like up for anything.
Yeah.
Like in regional, even like going to like Sunny Coast here, the crowds are different to an hour and a half away in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I think regional's the right word. I just say North Queensland because I'm up there.
Yeah, yeah.
But you'll find in North Queensland, like comedians who have subtle humour, or thinking man's comedy is what I like to call it, doesn't work as well as the obtuse, in your face, I just brought it today, I don't give a shit kind of humour. Like, yeah, that's definitely the go in North Queensland. And I imagine regions. But I'll tell you about the worst gig that we ever had. It was long-standing for about 6 months, and then I finally just said to the venue, we aren't doing this anymore. So the RSL in the Burdekin, God bless their cotton socks, they paid us to just put on a show on a Friday afternoon. A lot of money, by the way, just for new comics, or, amateur comics, I should say. It was a lot of money. So we would drive down there, and then they would cut the football with 15 minutes to go. I did mention it's at the RSL, right?
Yeah.
So then also the last post plays. So everyone's just got to stop. And then at like 7:30 or 7:40 or something, they then, over the PA, which just takes over all of your sound equipment, they just announce the last courtesy bus. And I was up there with Greg Sullivan. I took him on, like I did it as part of his tour. I produced his tour up in the north. And I took him down to the Burdekin and I said, look, you've just got to experience this. And we went there, and one of the guys in the audience, while poor Henry Bretts was trying to MC, just sort of put his hand up and he went, excuse me, do you do that Carl Barron joke? And Greg Sullivan just leaned over and went, how close to the front door can you back the car up? It was so bad.
Yeah.
And it just continued to be bad. Like, it was never good.
Yeah.
But it was a paying gig, and we just did it because, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. But after about 6 months, I just said, look, we actually don't have the stamina or the money for therapy to continue doing this. Cutting the football from, farmers and workers with 15 minutes to go is not a good start to comedy.
So it was
subjecting them to humour. Like, that's not cool.
It was a consistent, like, it was a 6 month lot of gigs that you did.
Yeah, it was every second week, I'm pretty sure.
Did it ever go well?
No.
No,
if you got far enough away from the start time, like the last bit, where some people came in and got themselves invested, great. There'd be no more than 10 people that were invested. But then some other times people would just demand the football the whole time while the show is going on, turned back on. Or they just talk to each other and just not even pay attention. And they had these theatre seats set up. It was so bad.
Oh, it was theatre seating?
No, but it was in the sports bar. So they just, in the middle of the sports bar, just set up some theatre seats. It was a good attempt. And I knew it was fraught with danger, but full disclaimer, I told the guys, I was like, look, it's not going to be great. They're going to cut the football.
Yeah.
There's some announcements that are mandatory, including the last post. The last post. You can't even.
I feel like some venue, comedy's its own thing where even venues don't understand.
No.
Like, a lot of the time, why this thing isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And even when you try to explain, and that's where, like, at least in Brisbane, like, rooms kind of happen for a little bit. Then there's a clash with the venue and the organizer. And I think it's because venues are like, no, we know how, this is our venue, we know how it goes. But comedy is like such a specific thing where the environment can impact the outcome of it so heavily.
Yeah.
Like the crowd being into it and things like that. Or like there's a gig here, I've never done it, like at a karaoke bar where people are just like by what I've heard, never done it. I have to do it at some point, but people are like just constantly waiting for like karaoke.
Yeah.
They're just like comedians on stage are like, when the fuck can I do karaoke?
Yeah.
So
I think the worst one is like corporate gigs. They're the worst ones. I actually got booked to a birthday party in Mackay. Mm-hmm. Again, it was just money. Like they just paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
I went down there and it turned out to be, I want to say he was Nigerian. It was a Nigerian pastor, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And it was basically his congregation that were there. So I just found myself just cutting things. I was like, I can't do that. Can't
like
do
just
this,
on
can't
the
do that.
fly?
No, when I got there
when
and
you
was
got
like,
there,
it's actually his whole congregation.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I got up to do my, 15 minutes, it was insane. The MC of the party interviewed me. So why did you get into comedy? I was like, this is not how comedy works.
Yeah.
And so, people don't get it. Like, whenever I book gigs with venues and corporate gigs are a different thing for sure. I've had a few of those that went really well, particularly tradies, anything involving tradies. They pay well and also, they've got just keen, hungry people that are there to laugh and have a good time, But there's other ones where they just don't get it. Like, why can't you? Do you need a PA? Do you need a sound system? Do
you need lights?
Yeah. Well, look, lights you can do without it, particularly at a corporate gig. But without good sound, and half of their whole presentation thing is actually done with almost a megaphone style quality sound. That's it. And it's like, well, actually, no, they need to hear all the words for this to be funny. I've never been asked afterwards why didn't that work, but sometimes you just kind of bite down and go through the motions, take the paycheck and just be thankful for money and go. That's it, we're done.
Exactly. I think
it's good when it works.
Yeah.
When it works, it's fun.
I think it was like Greg Sullivan said to me, it's like, it's you get paid if you do your time. You don't get paid on whether or not you do well. Like you get paid to do your time.
Right.
So
yeah. And also too, like you've got to then go through and pull out all your good material, your PC material, the stuff that's not on the nose, and then the edgy bits you've really got to, I always look for the HR lady, who was working HR. Just look for them because their face will tell you whether it's okay or not.
Oh, yep, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. Sometimes people have cameras and it's like, as long as that's not the HR lady, we're good. I'll get paid. Happy days.
And what's the Townsville scene like at the moment? Like, what's the format of the gigs you have going? Is it mostly like open mic kind of stuff, or?
So there's two open mic style ones running now. One's at a brewery, which has its difficulties because breweries are breweries, tall ceilings, echoey. Yeah. It's also run on a Friday afternoon, so if you can imagine tradies coming in and just wanting a beer and having a chat with each other, and then again just injecting comedy into their lives that they didn't necessarily ask for.
Yeah.
That's tricky. I think there's one at the Herbert as well at the moment. There used to be one every fortnight at Molly's, which is a club in the city, but they've changed the format of that one, so it's actually a curated show now, and it's once a month. So, and they'll start bringing pros in. So, and then there's OSC Cocktail Comedy, which is my room. It's at the OSC bar, and it's. Have you ever done Laughing Heart in Cairns?
No, I haven't.
It's similar to that. Yeah. It's a cocktail bar. It's reminiscent of like a comedy nook in New York. Like that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
People come in, they just want to drink cocktails and just have a laugh. So they're just hot. Like they're ready for it. It doesn't matter what show it is. If it's at OSC and it's it's that Tuesday night, and it's Tuesday, which just blows my mind that people come out on a Tuesday, sell out the whole room and literally just want to laugh. Like they want to. Yeah, wow. Which is mildly annoying sometimes when you're in that part of the joke that's not funny, and then you hear laughter and you're like,
it cuts your tension a bit.
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's not the funny part. Like, what's wrong with you? And we just started crowd control in Townsville.
Oh, I did see that actually. Yeah, sweet.
At the same bar at OSC. So, cocktail comedies at the start of the month, and then mid-month is crowd control. We just had the first one. Yep. And the audience again sold out and unanimously just went, bring it back. So
that's awesome.
We're going to be doing it monthly. And it's great for us too, because particularly when you're trying to develop MCs who are really nervous about talking to the crowd, you can't do anything but talk to the crowd. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So crowd work, for those who don't know, crowd control is like a crowd work comp. It started with Shane Hunter, I believe, in here in Brisbane.
Yeah, so I messaged him at the start and was like, hey, I know this format. Never done one. He did invite me once, didn't make it.
Yep.
But yeah, I was like, look, can we do this in Townsville? And he was like, fill your boots. He said, just make sure the artwork's great.
That's awesome.
So I got my mate to do the artwork, and it's pretty incredible. Throw a picture up if you get a chance. But this guy only does, he only works for the biggest advertising company in the world, and I had him put it together. He wasn't going to, but I was like, dude, I've got cancer. And he was like, okay, I'll do it for you. What if I died? Is this going to be the last thing you said to me? No.
And also as well, so at least, like you're right, at least you're training people up to do like MC kind of roles.
Yeah.
And when you have like with open mic spots or whatever, when I have 5 minutes, I just want to tell all my jokes. Like I don't want to in the middle of that be like, what do you do? Like at least it's like a good kind of training ground. Like it's a gig where that's all they do is crowd work. So it's good that they get that you guys get that opportunity to work on that skill.
I really want to put a workshop up in Townsville. I don't know who to put at the helm for that. I'll reach out to some people, I suppose. And because like there's a lot of things about comedy that we just don't understand because we are insulated. We're local comics teaching local comics. Like, we can only get as good as our best person, which is why I travel to Cairns. I used to do it twice a month. Now I do it once a month just because of obviously medical stuff. But if I go once a month, at least I get to be around professionals because they have a professional MC and they have a professional headliner, which means I get to see those people in play and also, get some, it's not even about feedback on my jokes. It's just seeing how that room operates, how they hold themselves in the room and how they MC. You learn a lot by watching. Whereas, if you're in a local comedy group and you don't see enough pros coming through, which we don't, your learning gets stymied. There's nothing you can do. And so I find because I do the most travel out and that exposure, then people lean on me and it's like, dude, I'm not the, I'm not the bastion either. Like, so I'm looking at that as a future project. Let me get let me get a good prognosis first and then it'll happen. Because we really need growth and we can't do that without professionals. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. And that's where, like, with Mackay, for example, that's why you see, like...
Is that why you moved here?
I moved here for comedy, yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, as soon as I moved here, like, I was going to shows all the time. And that's how I learned, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, as you mentioned earlier with the Mackay scene, how no one really had an idea. And, of course, they didn't, because there's no...
It's not their fault.
Yeah,
it was funny, but it was not their fault.
I know that, I just mean, like, when you don't have any shows to go to or, like, you don't have someone that's been... with any experiences, everyone kind of being like, oh, I think you do... Like, you'd have... Like, I think I can do, like, 15 minutes at this, like... Instead of, like, okay, everyone does 5 minutes, you're going to light it, whatever. It's kind of a bit more loosey-goosey where it's easier for crowds to get exhausted and things like that too, you know what I mean? Like, I think the first open mic I did... Oh, actually... Yeah, I think the first open mic I did, like, there was only four of us on. So I think it ran, like, a bit under an hour. So everyone was like...
It doesn't matter.
Like, oh, what? That was too short. And now looking back, I'm like, no, it's fine. An hour show for, like, open micers. Most of them are 2, but, like...
I just remember being in Mackay, behind the curtain, and watching the MC turn the mic on and just speak into it and introduce the next act. And I just went, oh, you didn't. You did not
cold.
Introduce the next comedian from behind the curtain. Like, there was no outro, no intro. It was just that comedian came off to nobody and then the next person got introduced from behind the curtain. The audience didn't see anyone. I just went, that didn't just happen. That didn't just, what the? Oh, I nearly had a heart attack. I was like, I don't know what's happening. But it is. It's just because they don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like, just get a coach. Like, organise a workshop, send your people down south, do whatever you got to do, but get some help. Like, I can't be your help. Like, there's just too many things that need addressing from here. Like, I got lucky in Townsville because we had, like, Justin Brown and Tim Axton, who've been on the scene for 10 years. They've been around pros, and for so long that, that experience was there, at least, as limited as it was in Townsville. The experience existed.
Yeah.
So we weren't doing things like that when I got on the scene. And But yeah, Mackay I was like, oh, you infancy. Like,
Yeah.
not even infancy, newborn.
Well, yeah, their first ever open mic was 2021.
Yeah.
Like, as far as I think they did one in like the kind of Logan equivalent, like kind of out of town kind of, they did maybe one open mic there, but like when like Reed wanted to start comedy, my mate also from Mackay moved to Brisbane, he was doing open mics at like a music open mic.
Yeah.
Like there was literally no place to do stand-up ever.
Insane.
Like, so yeah, it's just...
I don't mind an MC spot actually. Sometimes when I want to get some new material out, I just want to test it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good opportunity to test new material when you're MCing because it's kind of loose. You're just talking. It's like it doesn't have to go well. Once the audience likes you, you just kind of throw a bit out there. And it's like, oh, that worked, or that didn't work, and then just dress it up as intentional or not, however you like. You know, you don't ever have to even acknowledge that it's new material. You just kind of just put it out there. I like the MC spot for that actually. Just testing new material, which is kind of sneaky, but also, you know, non-consequential. No one gets hurt. So, there's a tip for you if you didn't think of that.
And also as well, so with... You guys have like a fringe, don't you?
Yeah.
Like a...
Northern Australian Film Festival. Oh my God. Northern Australian Film... What is it? Northern Australian Festival of the Arts. There we go.
Yeah.
That's the one. Stop saying film, Indy.
I was like, where'd the film?
I don't know. Like, I just think... Well, I mean, we're obviously a film city. Like... LA.
Yeah. Vancouver, Townsville. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's good fun actually. I did the last one. My show, Kentucky Fried Rice.
Yeah.
That was really humbling for me. I sold out both shows.
Yeah.
And like it was big space. I think it was 100 people in both shows. And I just remember going,
Wow.
when did this happen? Like when did I, what? It was a lot. It was yeah. I still, like, when I think about it, look, I get that there's pros out there that get this all the time. Like, good for you. Like, I'm just Indy C from Townsville.
Yeah.
So for me to walk into a crowd and had an opener, like someone opened for me,
That's amazing.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
like, that's just stupid. That's just, yeah.
Yeah.
So I walk out and then it's full of people. It's tent. There's 100 people
That's a
in there.
massive achievement.
And I was like, oh, you guys came here for me. That was the only thing I could say. Is what came out of my mouth was like, oh, you guys came here for me. Yeah, it was very humbling. Killed it, by the way.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it took a minute for me to just absorb all of that. It was, yeah. I don't know how the pros do it all the time. Just you see them walk out and they're like, I expected you guys to be here.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, oh, I hope somebody comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, NAF is cool. It's a cool little venue. Like, I like the smaller tents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've supported shows in the bigger tents, and that's great. But the small ones are nice and cozy, and everyone's really close together, and it just feels really festival-y.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was gonna do it maybe 2 years ago, but then I think I missed registration or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it is like I do want to go back to North Queensland. I think it'd be really cool to go back to Mackay and like even like Townsville and stuff and do some shows because like the crowds are just so good.
Remember Danielle Walker saying that she, like, her dream was to sell out the Civic Theatre because she's from Townsville too.
Oh,
and
okay,
yeah, and I was like, that I can't even begin to dream of that. That for me seems like impossible. I mean, we've had some great comedians come out of Townsville, really. I mean, Danielle Walker being one of them, Zach Dyer as well.
Yeah, Zach Dyer,
Yeah, it's the North is full of funny people. But I know a lot of people who should try stand-up comedy, but they just won't.
Yeah.
And that's annoying because it's like, you want to say to them it's not as hard as you think, but you also know it's exactly as hard as you think.
Yeah, it's a lot of people like kind of. I've had people say to me like, "Oh, you have a lot of balls doing that," or it's like, "No, the first time I did it, like it ruined my whole like." That's all I could think about for the whole day leading up to.
Did you tell people that you were going to do it?
No, I didn't. So my first gig, I didn't tell anyone I was going to do
good.
it. I just kind of I was just like, I want to see if I can make a room of strangers laugh. Like that's kind of what I think. Okay, so I had like my dad and my sister come along, but that was kind of it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't tell anyone else to come along. And yeah, it was like 60 people, and I made them laugh. I was like, cool, I'll just keep doing that. Like. To be able to, I don't know, it was kind of like if it doesn't go well, it was just a bucket list thing. I was like, if it doesn't go well,
My friend
fun.
Alex, he came and saw Luke Heggie the night before
Yep.
I got up for the first time, and his mate Damien. And I actually rang Alex and just said, "Oh, Luke's on again at the Centen. Come down, I'll meet you there." I didn't tell him what I was doing. He's like, "Oh, that's like an hour from now," and I was like, "Yeah, just get down there." He's like, "Well, we saw him the other night." I was like, "Just get down there."
Oh, that's cool.
So I didn't want to tell him, but I wanted someone to see it in case I never did it again.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit annoyed that I didn't record it, but yeah. But I was not going to tell people. I mean, what if you do badly? I don't want anyone to witness that. That's insane.
Especially like, somewhere like Townsville, I can imagine is like Mackay, where everyone kind of knows each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be known as the person that did really bad at stand-up or whatever. I don't know.
I do find, though, that, like, having moved around a little bit, that, like, there are some jokes that are specifically for the North.
Yeah.
Like, they just don't work down here. Mm-hmm. And it's not just environmental. It's also just what people will and won't will find funny or what they'll tolerate. If it sounds like this, then it is this. And that's a bit disappointing because some of my favourite material is actually it's kind of stuck up there. It's got to stay there. I can't bring it down to Brisbane or
Yeah. Actually, so I did the Raw State final the other night. And
how'd you go?
Yeah, it went all right. I didn't do quite as well as
I was waiting for you to say, yeah, I won.
No, I definitely didn't win. But no, I didn't do as well as I wanted to.
Right.
Like, because usually those gigs, like, it was sold out and stuff, and like usually the crowds are usually hot, but just wasn't really like I did well, but not as well as I'd done in the previous heats.
Yeah.
But it was funny because Peter James's dad won the Cairns heat. Yeah, he won the Cairns heat.
Did he actually?
Yeah.
Oh, that is the best. I didn't. You know what? I saw the name and it never occurred to me that it was Steve.
Yeah.
I knew that and I didn't know that. Oh my god, that's insane.
So he was at the state final, and my mates from Mackay that now live here that come to see me, they clicked with his stuff. They were like, I don't think he mentioned he was from Cairns, but they were like, just by the way he told his jokes, they just knew that I was another North Queenslander. They resonated with that.
Isn't it a bit of a trap though in that raw room? Like, I think if you come from like Townsville or Cairns, right, and they fly you in, no one's seen you before. This is your first go. Whereas, anyone who's in that final, and if they've been at your heat or the semi-final and they saw you, your jokes, they're not funny. They're just, they've heard them as well. So now you're delivering and 2/3 of the room have already heard maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to help.
No, that is something I kind of thought of, but it's and that's the thing too. Like I had friends that came to like the previous heats and then came to the final, so it would have been the same for other people too. Like some people you just don't know who's heard the jokes.
Yeah. If you're not going to laugh, don't come. Just tell them that. Just go, look, laugh loudly and ridiculously, because that also will get a laugh from someone else in the room. That's when you want that guy that shows up that always has that weird laugh that distracts you from jokes. You want them to come on those nights, like the nights you want to be funny, for sure.
Also as well, you're on the newest season of Survivor.
I got voted off.
We're still in the city. Yeah.
That whole thing is surreal for me. Like properly, it feels like it was so far away. Also feels like it never happened. So yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah, that's because I watched the first episode last night, and I've never really seen the show.
Did you see me with the puzzles? I'm so good at puzzles. Killed it. I'm the puzzle master. That's my one takeaway because I only lasted 2 episodes.
Oh,
so I was on the island for 6 days.
Yeah.
And I only lasted 2 episodes because I was the first one out. Mm-hmm. There's a whole story behind that, but it doesn't matter. Or someone under contract, so I can't say. But
okay.
No, I'm kidding. I can say whatever I like. Yeah. But there were 2 puzzles. I did 3 challenges, and in 2 of them, like, that's my takeaway is like, I'm the puzzle master. Like I won both puzzles. It was like, you actually didn't have a chance.
Yeah, the other team, not to talk shit, but the other team, they were struggling with that puzzle.
There was a whole thing like later, the guy who was involved in that, he's like, I threw that challenge. And I was like, do not underestimate my ability to do a puzzle faster than any of you. So, no, I'm not going to accept that you threw that challenge. Also, you didn't say you were throwing that challenge, so I don't believe you.
Yeah.
You really just got me right here. I was like, no.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. But there were two of you as well. But I'll tell you this. I was doing that puzzle that you saw. I was doing that puzzle with a girl who was the White Witch, right? Which I already struggle with in my head, even though, like, my culture, my background allows for, you know, witchcraft and that kind of stuff. It's just like I struggle with that as a concept. She's a White Witch. So she's doing it with me. And it was like she's trying to move pieces around and she's going, does this fit here? And I'm like, oh, for someone who goes on about auras, can you not see the colour difference? Can you not see the colour difference? Like, conjure up some spirits and get them to help you, because right now you are in my way. Like, you are throwing the challenge for me, because and then I started moving her from like one side to the other. And I remember JLP, who's the host, was going, oh, you know, there's some serious teamwork going on here. No, that's not what's happening. I'm actually moving her out of the way so I can fix what she's done.
It's funny because it did look like...
It did look like teamwork. Yeah. It was like, no, I need to move her over here where I've already solved all of this and then fix what she's done so I can go back. It was all me. And I was like, look, if the other guy threw the challenge, that's great. I actually had... I'm going to say dyslexic witch to deal with, because it was just, I was like, oh my God. Like, and then later one of the other contestants said to me after the show was over, he's like, oh, look, she said that she knew she was bad at it, but someone said to her, do you want to do the puzzle? And she didn't, just because it's early, she didn't want to say no. Oh. Knowing full well she wasn't good at puzzles, she said yes, because she didn't want to be the person who couldn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that could have been so much faster. I'd done so much faster if I'd sat her down. Like, just sit here.
Yeah.
I'll be back. With a trophy. We'll just sit down. Yeah.
So how did all that come about? Did you apply did you just see like an application come up, or?
Yeah, look, I applied. I actually got a message from someone who works in recruiting.
Yeah.
You know, casting. There's the right word. I don't even know the words. And I didn't believe it. I was like, no, have we even met? Like, I actually messaged her. I was like, have we even met? And just kind of like, no, not having this conversation. Then I actually got a call from a lady who makes films. Quite big films, big films. Anyway, she reached out to me, said she'd seen my stuff on Instagram and she'd written this film and she needed the funny parts to be funnier, so she wanted my help. And then, and I was talking to her, I was like, oh, look, it's weird that I'm talking to you because I actually got this message. And because on Instagram, it's social media, I get messages all the time, you know. Yep. Do you want to sponsor this, you know, this, or do you want an ambassador for this?
Like,
or,
jewelry or whatever, and like share this.
But then some things do sound real, but also I'm aware that this is actually, you know, social media and anyone can reach me. So I just kind of ignore most of it. And I said this to her, I said, look, this woman contacted me about Survivor, and she was like, oh no, that's real. And then she sort of said a few things, and I was like, oh, what should I do? She said, oh, what do they want? I said, a video. It's a minute video or something. And she said, well, just do it. What's the worst thing that happens? But also I do know this is the way that they do business, and I know this person. And I was like, okay. So then I did it, and the next thing I was sitting in front of the executive producers pitching, or having conversation more than pitching. But yeah, the next thing I know, I'm in Samoa on a beach with, 11 people I'd never met before.
Yeah. And
eating rice cooked by white people. It was a lot to deal with. That's my biggest bugbear about Survivor is there was me, there was an Indian girl and an Asian boy. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, the white people were cooking the rice. I was like, what is happening? Not only do we have rice and beans, we're eating these rice and beans cooked by these people. What?
No flavour.
Yeah, I did cook. I did end up cooking the rice. I was like, I actually said to the guys, I was to my tribe, I said, look, I'm done. I'm cooking the rice tonight. And I actually cooked the rice with the beans and put coconut and more seawater than they were comfortable with in it. And I was like, no, we're going to have taste. And then Miles, who's the Asian guy, he was like, this is the tastiest thing we've eaten in 5 days. I was like, yeah. Anyway, and then I was gone the next day. So
maybe that was the catalyst, is the rice.
They were like, what is this shit? No, it was good. It was an experience. And honestly, if you get the opportunity to do something like that, just do it. Mm-hmm. Don't think about it, just do it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess as well, like, so what's next for you?
Kick cancer in the dick.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
So I came back early, obviously, after 2 episodes. So that total for me was like 6 days. Mm-hmm. And I was back in country and then diagnosed with breast cancer.
Fuck.
that just happened all very quickly. I say very quickly. In Townsville, things don't happen quickly medically.
Yeah.
But I was moving it along as fast as I could because I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong before I even left the island, and I was tired all the time, and I don't want to get into the boring stuff because it is boring, but it's also real. When I came back, it was like, we've got to get to the bottom of this. Also, I had my Kentucky Fried Rice shows at NAFA, so I did my Kentucky Fried Rice with a cancer diagnosis. My first show ever, my first solo show ever, I did with a cancer diagnosis. So that was tough. That was because even though we knew I had cancer, there were more things that we needed to uncover before anything could happen in terms of treatment, chemotherapy, what's next. It was like, you've got cancer, and then I'm walking out to 100 people who'd paid for tickets. And I was like, well, okay. So that face was like humbling, all the things I said before, but also like underneath was, I could die. I've got stage 4 cancer. Like, where do we go from here? So, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. But I did it, and in some ways comedy has kept me going. Like, I still work. I do 2 or 3 days. Sometimes I don't do any days, depending on how I'm feeling. Obviously, chemo's a very big deal. But, yeah, comedy, like, I just live from show to show. So I don't do all the shows. I don't do all of the open mics. I can't. I don't have the physical stamina. I still go to Cairns once a month when I can. And Peter James has been amazing with letting me slot in where I can. And it's just get to that show because comedy is such a big thing for me. And it allows me to treat my illness and the treatment with the respect it deserves. So, staying back away from people, isolating, that kind of stuff, cleanliness and hygiene and all that kind of stuff. I can do all of that and still do a show. And then timing wise, I've just got to make sure it's, within X amount of days of chemo. Like it's a lot. I don't want to get into it. But having those shows coming up really drives me forward. So it's, in a way, it's been a bit of a, bit of a lifesaver, I guess. And then on the other side of this, all of this, I'll take my show all around the country, probably add in some extra bits now that, Survivor's happened and Cancer's happened. And that's my new project, is how do I make cancer funny? And I watched Nick Capper's YouTube thing, and I was like, oh God, he's already done it. But also it's different for everyone.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And cancer is a funny thing to mention on stage. I've done it a few times now. And it's satisfying almost to watch people go, oh, she's got cancer, and then they just pull back. They're like, oh, we don't know what to do. Are we allowed to laugh? And then pulling them back in and then giving them permission to laugh is actually makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I've earned my stripes by calling myself a comedian. So yeah, it's been amazing. Like, I love it. Not the cancer, the comedy part. No one loves cancer. And it turns out this is something I thought, and I don't know why I thought it. I was like, when I first started chemo, one of the first things I thought when I started to get really sick, and you just plummet, you go down really fast. My first thought about that was, turns out those kids in the Starlight Foundation weren't exaggerating. It's real. But no part of my brain really ever thought that they were exaggerating. But for some reason, that was what was in my head. And then my next thought was like, oh, you can still write comedy. You're right. You must be okay. So, yeah.
And I guess that's where real comedy, or like some of the best stuff, and it's a coping mechanism, obviously, like humor is, when you're going through real, like, things like that, you're going to result to just wanting to make jokes about it. Yeah, for sure.
But, imagine all the material on the other side between Survivor and Cancer. And Hayden Mitten said to me, Hayden Douglas in Cairns, he said to me, you're the only person I know who would leave a game like Survivor and go, that was easy. What else you got? Give me some cancer. And it's kind of true. Like, I kind of feel like that. And don't get me wrong, it has some fucking bad days. But for the most part, it's just go through the motions, get to the other side of this and get it done. And I've never listened to the prognosis. I've never, I've got specialists around me and they've got a job to do. I just let them do it, and what I like and what I don't like, I kind of say out loud, and they give me reasons why I should do it their way. And we just do that. And then there's some parts about it where I've gone, oh, well, actually, no, I've been doing some reading, research. I try not to be that person, the Dr. Google person, or the person who's like, oh, yeah, but there's this natural remedy. I read about this thing in Mexico. Like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want a documentary made about me 20 years from now, that kind of thing. But But yeah, I genuinely in my heart of hearts go, this isn't going to beat me, but it's going to be a rough ride.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm going to be a comedian on the other side of it. So I'm going to be funnier. Is that possible?
I don't know. It's a tough ask.
We'll see.
But yeah, and where can people find you?
Social media.
Socials?
Yeah, jump on socials. Indy Comedy. That's me. On Instagram.
Yeah.
I only migrated to Instagram 3 years ago. That's how old I am. I still have Facebook running, but that's more for like, ads and meta stuff. But I'm never on Facebook, Instagram. But apparently Instagram's not even the thing anymore. Like,
Instagram's not the thing anymore.
No, TikTok and X, and I'm like, dude, I just moved. I'm not moving again. Yeah. It's not going to happen.
I'm sick of it. Sweet. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
No, thanks for having me.
Hell yeah. And kick cancer and dick?
Will do. Twice.